Hello, Year 4. Hope you're all well. Just a reminder that this is not a lesson. This is just me reading the key text for this week, which is I was a rat. So this might be to help you for either your literal questions, your inference questions, or, of course, the big question at the end of the week. So listen to me reading through it, and then maybe as we get later in the week, just mute my voice and you can go through it yourselves. Okay? So I'm just going to share my screen, and let's start. I was a rat. Old Bob and his wife Joan lived by the market in the house where his father and grandfather and great-grandfather had lived before him. Cobblers, all of them, and cobbling was Bob's trade too. Cobblers are people that make shoes. Joan was a washerwoman, like her mother and her grandmother and her great-grandmother, back as far as anyone could remember. And if they'd had a son, he would have become a cobbler in his turn, and if they'd had a daughter, she would have learned the laundry trade, and so the world would have gone on. But they never had a child, whether boy or girl, and now they were getting old. It seemed less and less likely that they ever would, much as they would have liked to. One evening, as old Joan wrote a letter to her niece, and old Bob sat trimming the heels on a pair of tiny scarlet slippers he was making for the love of it, there came a knock at the door. Bob looked up with a jump. "Was that someone knocking?" he said. "What's the time?" The cuckoo clock answered him before Joan could. 10 o'clock. As soon as it had finished cuckooing, there came another knock, louder than before. Bob lit a candle and went through the dark shop to unlock the front door. Standing in the moonlight was a little boy in a page's uniform. It had once been smart, but it was sorely torn and stained, and the boy's face was scratched and grubby. "Bless my soul," said Bob. "Who are you?" "I was a rat," said the little boy. "What did you say?" said Joan, crowding in behind her husband. "I was a rat," said the little boy again. "You were Go on with you. Where do you live?" she said. "What's your name?" But the little boy could only say, "I was a rat." The old couple took him into the kitchen because the night was cold and sat him down by the fire. He looked up at the flames as if he'd never seen anything like them before. "What should we do?" whispered Bob. "Feed the poor little soul," Joan whispered back. "Bread and milk, that's what my mother used to make for us." So she put some milk in a pan to heat by the fire and broke some bread into the bowl. And old Bob tried to find out more about the boy. "What's your name?" he said. "Haven't got a name." "Why, everyone's got a name. I'm Bob, and this is Joan, and that's who we are, see? You sure you haven't got a name?" "I lost it. I forgot it. I was a rat," said the boy, as if that explained everything. "Oh," said Bob. "You've got a nice uniform on. Anyway, I expect you were in the service, were you?" The boy looked at his tattered uniform, puzzled. "Dunno," he said finally. "Dunno what that means. I expect I am. Probably." "In service," said Bob. "That means being someone's servant, having a master or mistress and run errands for them. Page boys like you, they usually go along with the master or mistress in a coach, for instance." "Ah," said the boy. "Yes, I done that. I was a good page boy. I done everything right." "Course you did," said Bob, shifting his chair along as Joan came to the table with a bowl of warm bread and milk. She put it in front of the boy, and without a second's pause, he put his face right down into the bowl and began to guzzle it up directly, his dirty little hands gripping the edge of the table. "What are you doing?" said Joan. "Dear, oh dear, you don't eat like that. Use the spoon." The boy looked up, milk in his eyebrows, bread up his nose, his chin dripping. "She doesn't know anything, poor little thing," said Joan. "Come to the sink, my love, and we'll wash you, grubby hands and all. Look at you." The boy tried to look at himself, but he was reluctant to leave the bowl, which means that if he's reluctant, he didn't want to leave the bowl. That's nice, he said. I like that. Well, it'll still be here when you come back, said Bob. I've had my supper already. I'll look after it for you. The boy looked wonder-struck at this idea, like he's amazed. He watched over his shoulder as Joan led him to the kitchen sink and tipped in some of the water from the kettle. And while she was washing him, he kept twisting his wet face round to look from Bob to the bowl and back again. That's better, said Joan, rubbing him dry. Now, you be a good boy and eat with the spoon. Yes, I will, he said, nodding. I'm surprised they didn't teach you manners when you were a page boy, she said. I was a rat, he said. Oh, well, rats don't have manners. Boys do, she told him. You say thank you when someone gives you something. See, that's good manners. Thank you, he said, nodding hard. That's a good boy. Now, come and sit down. So he sat down, and Bob showed him how to use the spoon. He found it hard at first because he would keep turning it upside down before it reached his mouth. And a lot of the bread and milk ended up on his lap. But Bob and Joan could see he was trying, and he was a quick learner. By the time he'd finished, he was quite good at it. Thank you, he said. That's it, well done, said Bob. Now, you come along with me and I'll show you how to wash the bowl and the spoon. While you're doing that, Bob said, do you know how old you are? Yes, said the boy. I know that all right. I'm 3 weeks old, I am. 3 weeks. And that is the end of that chapter. I hope you found that useful. Make sure, again, as I say, mute me as we get later on in the week and follow through that text yourself and read that either aloud to someone in the room or just in your head. Okay, best of luck, guys.